bus. But I digress. I'm an educator at heart, and so I do want with this panel, I want you guys to think about why we need more leaders, why we need more Black leaders, why we need more women leaders, and why we need more Black women leaders. And so we have an amazing group of panelists today to share with you their journey through leadership as a Black woman, and hopefully we'll have time for questions. Key word is questions, y'all. Questions from the audience about how you can make sure that you are developing diverse leadership, making sure that women have a place at the table, and by doing that, making sure that your organization is sustainable and can pivot no matter who's in office. So I'll have our panelists introduce themselves. In their introductions, they'll tell you their names, where they're from, the union or organizations that they represent, and what brought them to Black Labor Week. And again, I've already shared that with you. It was my cousin. All right, so Leticia, do you want to start?
Doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. Good evening. My name is Leticia Kendrick. I'm a 29-year member of International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 134 in Chicago, Illinois. And I am also a 17-year member of Chicago Teachers Union Local 1. I teach electricity to high school students in Chicago at Simeon Career Academy. EJ invited me to be on this panel, and I'm honored to be here.
Hey everybody, my name is Jane Curtis. I'm from Virginia. I'm with Family Values at Work, which is a national nonprofit organization that fights for paid sick and safe days, paid medical leave, care narrative issues, safe and affordable child care, those kind of things. And I have been coming to Black Labor Week for about 6 years now, and what brought me was, of course, EJ, but back when I was with Dayfield Randolph Institute. Yeah.
Hello. Oh, no, I didn't. There, no.
It's working?
Yep.
Yes.
How y'all doing?
Good.
All right, that's good. My name is Shire Brown. Everyone calls me Shy. No, I am not shy, but that's my name. I work for the Department of Children and Family Services as a child protection investigator supervisor, as well as I am a lead mentor with Pretty Meeting. I also am on the e-board for Ask Me Council 31, Local 2794. And I just do a whole lot of things in between that. But I am here because one, of course, Jay did ask me to be here, but I wanted to get out here and just to talk to people when it comes to the Department of Children and Family Services, as well as to get more information when it comes to Pretty Meeting, which is a mentoring program that is out there for young ladies ages 12 to 20.
Hey y'all, hey.
Somebody got a fan club.
Ashley Seabrook. I am on the USW Local 8888. In Virginia. I serve on the e-board there as the recording secretary. I'm the next gen chair and I'm the state coordinator as well. I got invited to Black Labor Week a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5, by EJ, but I love it. Everything you does like gold. It's awesome. I get to hang out with my brothers and sisters here, and I love the platform he created in terms of community. So thank you. Good evening, everybody. I just want to say, you look so beautiful. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, moderator, and thank you, EJ, for inviting me. I am Tiffany. I am the chief executive for We Are Somebody, which is a national nonprofit that caters to the workforce. It's led by Senator Nina Turner, And after she ran for Congress in Ohio, District 11, she developed this organization so that way everyone from the working class, unionized or non-unionized, would have a fighting coalition behind them. And we partner with different organizations like Black Labor Week and different people from all over, from here to the UK, to make sure that the working class know that we are building, working with different political figures to make sure that they have like equal pay and things of that nature. I also believe in fighting educational inequities through policy. So in Cleveland, I have an organization called the CAP Project where I teach Cleveland parents how to understand school policy. So when they do advocate for themselves, they know exactly what to say, when to say it, and not just go to the board, hoop and holler, but they know exactly what to say. So I came to Black Labor Week, of course, with EJ Acts, but I have pulled EJ in different national adventures that the senator and I do to make sure that people like him represent all of you, and he brings it every time. He mentions y'all, he tells what the problems are, he tells how he's planning on taking care of those problems, and he always has his community in the forefront. So that's why I'm here.
All right. I'm pleased as pleasure to hear so many people on this panel have their careers touch upon education. I was a teacher before I became a lawyer, and teachers are generally a female-dominated role, lawyers are not. What I've learned is that women, no matter what role they're in, are generally the ones who are driving the movement, and Black women in particular. Have historically been the backbone and the worker bees in our social movements. However, we generally do not have, or generally have not held, leadership roles. I became a president only because nobody else wanted the job during the first Trump administration, and I think I would have had a more difficult time. And I actually did have somebody run against me in the Biden administration, and then now nobody else wants to be on the leadership role. Imagine that. But I wanted to ask our panelists if you want to comment on this question. Because we as women, and as Black women particularly, have been the people driving movements, but have historically been excluded from leadership roles, has that been your experience? Do you see that as a problem? And if you do, how do you think we can correct it? And if you don't think it's a problem, why not? Who wants to start?
I think we have to be careful about when we are thinking about leadership. At one point in time, I was extremely active with my union women's committee, and I've introduced over 1,000 high school students on the south side of Chicago to the electrical construction industry. In that, I'm a leader in my own right. I applied for positions within my local and I didn't get them. And I was angry, like, I know I'm qualified, I'm overqualified. Why am I not getting these positions? However, had I gotten those positions, I would have lost my voice. I wouldn't have been able to be as effective as I am if I had been in a position where I had to ask permission to do the work that I do. So we have to be careful in that if we are leaders, are we able to be effective leaders? Our effectiveness is what's going to drive our communities and push us into the future. So leadership sounds good, but is it really good? You got to stop and think about that and work where you can drive the most progress.
I'd like to piggyback off of that because of the work that I was doing in Cleveland Metropolitan School District, CMSD, a lot of people were pushing me to join the board. And in Cleveland, there's only, well, in the state, and in the country, there's only maybe 5 or 6, I could be wrong, there's less than 10% of the United States schools that are ran by the mayor. Not that many of them, and Cleveland was one of them. So the mayor gets to select and appoint the board. You don't like run for a board seat. which there's a lot of corruption, the reason why I started, and the corruption is the reason why I still remain. But when I got to the top of the top to meet with the mayor, he looked at my application and he said, when you mentioned your role is to advocate, who are you advocating for? And I said, well, there's 36,000, parents and children, and it's 65% Black, so I would assume I would be advocating for them. And he said, no. His goal was to preserve, like for Abraham Lincoln, like it wasn't to free the slaves, it was to preserve the union. So it was like his goal was to preserve the board. Like, well, if the Cleveland media comes to you and asks you a question, what would you say? And it's like, well, I'm going to tell the damn truth. Like, what else would I? And he didn't want that. So that was one of the most heartbreaking, after all the work